Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today, we're diving into a major shakeup in General Hospital, the future of Jason Morgan. Could he really leave the mob behind for good? And if so, what's next for him? Some surprising opportunities are on the horizon, and one of them might just lead him straight into the ranks of the WSB. Let's break it all down. For years, Jason Morgan has been the ultimate enforcer, the cold, calculated right-hand man of Sonny, a man who thrived in the shadows of the underworld. His presence in the mob wasn't just a job, it was an identity. The life of a mob enforcer demands unwavering loyalty, an iron will, and an acceptance of the fact that violence is just part of the deal. But what happens when that identity no longer fits? When a man like Jason looks at his life and realizes that the path he has walked for decades may no longer be the one he wants to take? That's exactly where he finds himself now, at a crossroads that could lead him in a completely new direction, one that may shock everyone who knows him. A new offer, the WSB comes calling. The World Security Bureau, WSB, is no stranger to making unexpected recruitment offers, especially to those who have proven they can operate in high-stakes environments. Jason fits that mold perfectly. He's highly skilled in combat, has an extensive network of contacts, and perhaps most importantly, he knows how to operate in morally gray areas. While the WSB is an organization dedicated to law enforcement on an international scale, they're not afraid to bend the rules when necessary. That makes Jason an ideal candidate. Jack Brennan, the head of the WSB, has already extended an invitation to Jason once before, which he initially declined. But recent events in Port Charles might force him to reconsider. If he steps into this new role, Jason wouldn't just be playing defense anymore, he'd be on the offensive, tracking down criminals on a global scale. And this time, he'd be doing it on the right side of the law. Of course, joining the WSB wouldn't come without its dangers. It's an unpredictable, high-risk world where double-crosses are common, and one wrong move could cost Jason his life. But then again, hasn't that always been the reality of his existence? The only difference is that this time, he wouldn't just be taking out threats for Sonny, he'd be eliminating threats to national and international security. Would Jason find satisfaction in the WSB? One major question remains, would Jason even find fulfillment in a career with the WSB? It's true that the job aligns with many of his strengths, covert operations, combat strategy, and criminal investigations, but Jason has never been a man who thrives on bureaucracy. The WSB isn't just about taking out bad guys, it comes with red tape, global politics, and a level of oversight that Jason has never had to answer to before. On the other hand, this career path would offer him something he's never had, legitimacy. After spending years as a man who operated outside the law, constantly looking over his shoulder, constantly making sacrifices for Sonny, he would finally have a role that could earn him the respect of his children. Danny Morgan, in particular, has started to become more aware of his father's history. Wouldn't it be something if Jason could finally look his son in the eye and say, "I'm one of the good guys now"? The Michael Corinthos factor, a wake-up call for Jason. Jason's decision to step away from the mob wasn't made lightly, but it was solidified after the horrifying attack on Michael Corinthos. The arson that nearly cost Michael his life wasn't just a random act of violence, it was a direct consequence of the world Jason and Sonny built. And for Jason, that realization hit harder than any bullet ever could. Michael has been dragged into Sonny's world too many times before, and despite his efforts to keep his distance, he remains a target simply because of his last name. When Jason saw the damage that the latest attack had caused, something inside him shifted. He couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't just another mob war, it was proof that as long as Sonny's empire existed, those closest to them would always be in danger. That's when revenge became Jason's primary focus. His instincts screamed for payback, to hunt down the person responsible and make them regret ever crossing the Corinthos family. But then came Anna Devane, the one person who could make Jason stop and think before acting on impulse. Jason and Anna, a new partnership? Anna has always seen potential in Jason, even when he was at his most ruthless. She understands his code of honor, his dedication to protecting those he loves, and his ability to navigate dangerous situations with precision. That's why she stepped in before Jason could go on a warpath. She didn't want him making another mistake, one that could cost him his freedom, or worse, his life. Instead of revenge, Anna proposed something else: justice. She needed Jason's help in tracking down Jen Sidwell, the man she suspects is behind the attack on Michael. If they could find him and prove his guilt, they wouldn't just be striking back, they'd be making sure he could never do it again. Jason and Anna working together is an interesting dynamic. They both operate with an unshakable sense of purpose, and while their methods differ, their end goal is often the same. They make a formidable duo, and with Jason's experience and Anna's connections, tracking down Sidwell could be the perfect first step toward Jason embracing a new kind of life. If not the WSB, then what? If Jason ultimately decides against the WSB, where else could he go? ELQ is an obvious option, given his Quartermain lineage, but let's be honest. Jason has never been one for boardrooms and business suits. The idea of sitting in meetings all day and crunching numbers would drive him insane. Could he join the PCPD instead? Unlikely. Jason doesn't fit the mold of a traditional police officer. He works best when he has autonomy, when he can follow his own instincts rather than answer to a superior. The rigid structure of the police force would likely suffocate him. But the WSB? That's different. The Bureau operates in the shadows, much like Jason always has, but now, he'd be sanctioned to take down the kinds of criminals he's been dealing with his whole life. And while he might be reluctant to officially sign on, the idea of working alongside Anna on a more permanent basis might be tempting enough to sway him. Sonny's declining health, an era in. We're diving deep into the latest General Hospital drama, where emotions are running high, secrets are unraveling, and unexpected twists are shaking up Port Charles. Buckle up, because this is going to be intense. Sasha's world just got more complicated again. Sasha Gilmore has been riding a roller coaster of emotions lately, but just when she thought she had a handle on things, another unexpected surprise comes her way. Given everything she has been through, from losing her child to struggling with addiction and fighting for her independence, one might think the universe would finally cut her some slack. But Port Charles is never that forgiving. The question now is, who is about to drop the latest bombshell on Sasha? Could it be that someone else besides Jason Morgan has figured out the truth about the father of her baby? The secret has been teetering on the edge of exposure for a while, and if the wrong person gets wind of it, things could spiral out of control. Cody Bell has been one of the biggest wildcards in this scenario. His habit of eavesdropping and inability to keep his mouth shut might just be the catalyst that throws everything into chaos. If Cody has indeed been blabbing about what he overheard between Sasha and Jason, it's only a matter of time before the wrong ears pick it up, perhaps even Michael Corinthos himself. How would Michael react if he learned the truth in such a public and dramatic way? And more importantly, how would Sasha handle being blindsided by a revelation she wasn't ready to confront? Trina's shocking realization a turning point? Meanwhile, Trina Robinson is left completely taken aback by something or someone. Lately, her world has been revolving around Kai, and their recent interactions have been intense, to say the least. The last time they spoke, she faced a side of him she hadn't fully seen before, a man filled with frustration, fear, and self-doubt, questioning whether he even wanted to return to school. Now, Trina finds herself facing another moment of shock. But is it related to Kai, or is this about something much closer to home? Her relationship with Curtis Ashford has been slowly mending, and the two were even featured in the latest GH teaser video, hinting at a possible father-daughter moment of truth. Could Curtis be the one to deliver some unexpected news that shakes Trina's world? Or could it be something entirely different, something connected to her mother, Portia, or even Spencer, who remains a lingering presence in her life? Whatever the case, Trina's reaction will be key. She's always been someone who processes emotions with strength and intelligence, but some revelations can change everything in an instant. Lucky Spencer lost or searching for a new purpose? Speaking of people at a crossroads, Lucky Spencer is a man who seems to be drifting without direction. Ever since he returned to Port Charles, he's been going through the motions, working at Charlie's and staying well past the point of necessity, even after Lulu woke up from her coma. But why? Lucky's history is complicated, marked by personal failures, painful losses, and an ever-present struggle to find where he truly belongs. Deep down, does he believe he has failed too many people? Is he staying in Port Charles out of duty, or does he genuinely want to rebuild his life here? Elizabeth Weber sees right through his act. Unlike most people, she can tell when Lucky is wearing a mask, pretending to be fine when he's anything but. That's one of the things that has always made their relationship, whether as friends, lovers, or co-parents, so unique. But what does she see now? A man who is lost and needs guidance? Or someone who is on the verge of making a major decision that could change everything? Lucky's next steps will be crucial. If he remains stagnant, he risks fading into the background, but if he finds a new purpose, whether through work, family, or even a surprising romance, he could finally start to redefine himself. Sonny and Alexis, a shared grief that might bind them together. Meanwhile, Sonny Corinthos hasn't yet left for Los Angeles with Natalia, despite his initial plans. Instead, he finds himself drawn into something far more emotional, consoling Alexis Davis, who is reeling from the same pain that Dante is experiencing. Sonny and Alexis have always shared a complicated history, but in this moment, they are bound by their mutual anger, frustration, and grief. The woman they both loved, Sam McCall, is gone, and neither of them knows what to do with the tidal wave of emotions that comes with that loss. Alexis, a woman who has spent years building walls around her heart, is especially vulnerable right now. Her grief is raw, and the only thing keeping her afloat is her determination to find out who did this to Sam. But can Sonny truly help her through this pain? Or will Alexis shut him out, unable to find comfort in someone who is struggling just as much as she is? Grief can push people together just as easily as it can drive them apart. If Sonny manages to break through Alexis's defenses, this could be the start of a deeper bond between them. But if Alexis refuses to let anyone in, she might find herself spiraling into a darkness she can't escape from. Dante's rage, will it consume him? And then, there's Dante Falconeri, who is practically shaking with rage. The revelation that Sam was murdered has left him teetering on the edge, and Anna Devane wisely made the call to keep him off the case. She knew that letting him anywhere near the investigation would be a mistake, especially considering the emotional storm raging inside him. But that doesn't mean Dante is going to sit back and do nothing. If Anna won't tell him who the person of interest is, he'll find out himself. He's a detective, after all, and nothing will stop him from uncovering the truth, not even official orders. On top of that, he and Lulu Spencer now have the difficult task of explaining everything to Rocco. How do you tell a child that someone they loved was murdered? How do you break that kind of news without shattering them completely? Lulu, still grappling with her own guilt and grief, tries to support Dante, but this is something neither of them is truly prepared for. Dante's emotions are a dangerous force right now. If he isn't careful, his desperation for justice could lead him down a path of vengeance, one that might have consequences he can't take back. The only question is, who will stop him before it's too late? Final thoughts, where do we go from here? As Port Charles reels from the shocking murder of Sam McCall, everyone is left searching for answers. Some are looking for justice, some are drowning in grief, and others are standing at the edge of a major turning point. Will Sasha's secret come out in the worst way possible? Can Trina handle the shock that awaits her? Will Lucky find a new purpose, or is he destined to remain lost? And as for Dante, will his fury drive him to make a mistake he can't undo? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain: General Hospital is about to take us on one wild ride. What do you guys think? Drop your theories in the comments below. I can't wait to hear what you think is coming next.